Well, hello and welcome, fellow shapers of the future. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a short one. Probably won't hang about. I think we've got 5 days of rain ahead of us, or ahead of me. I don't know. You can't believe the weather anyway. And I'll see what it looks like out the window. Regardless, I will be having a night, Friday or Saturday night, I'm not sure which, probably Saturday night. Doesn't matter what the weather will be doing, I'll be heading out, even if it means I've just got to sit in my bender and listen to audio books or whittle away at some wood, whatever, just relax for what is a very long night. But yeah, appreciate it for what it is. So I was on the way out the door and my neighbour said he was able to look at my channel and he liked it, and can I make him a walking stick? So here we have it. It's a hazel pole. It's about the right height that he wanted. He wanted it about that height, and I can see why. It's great for a bit of balance. I wouldn't call it a walking stick, and it's not quite a staff, I don't think. So a striding stick. It's more for striding, because the other thing I found with this is it's got a beautiful balance in the middle there, which is a little bit of luck really, which is right on that. So you've actually got a really nice, for when you're not using it, central point to hold on to, or slip your thumb in the top and stride. So it's striding stick. And that'll just be a little thank you for being my neighbour type thing. He said he'd give me some money, but I don't deal in money. It took me a few minutes, and when I give it to him, obviously this is fresh. I'm gonna have to say your best chance. I'll sand it down and whatnot a little bit. I won't go through the bark, but I'll just sand off this green and take a layer off of that, very thin layer. Still want it to look quite rustic, and say keep it cool, basically, in the coldest piece of area that you can, to avoid the splitting, because if you take a fresh piece of wood into a hot house, it's just going to split. There's a good chance. So keep it cool in a porch, something like that. Unfortunately we live in flats, so I don't know where he'll put it, but that's up to him to choose. So all I've done is just rounded off these edges with a knife just to tidy it up. Give this a little bit of heat treating, not much at all really, because I don't think you need to as such, and because it's wet wood I don't want to encourage it to split. So that's that. While I am here, I think I caught a robin earlier, one of my friendly neighbourhood robins, and they are fascinating me more and more. How fast they flap their wings and how fast they are through the woods. They're like little bullets going through the woods, and I can see why there was a whole tree full of blackbirds there, and they weren't bothering the little robin at all. He was able to come and go as he pleased, quite frankly, because I think he was just far too swift for those blackbirds. whereas they would pick on the other little finches and the wrens and sort of bully them out of their little apple tree area. So the robin stands his ground, and with speed he is able to deter any attacks, basically, just from them not bothering to chase him, because he's just far too quick. I did actually catch that on the sling shot that I done in slow motion. Just after I let go of the sling, it made a little whick, and 2 robins actually flew across. Thankfully didn't get hit by my ball, but that was very close, and you've got to gauge how fast they go, and it was really impressive, has to be said. So how fast is a robin? Is it one of the fastest little birds? I don't know. Is that one of its skill sets? I'm going to have to find out a little bit more about the European robin. The more you look around, the more you kind of see, the more questions, the more avenues, directions. It just opens up a whole world. Like birds now, I'm adding to my list. Really, it's an ever-growing list of outdoor things. I like to be able to identify things around me, as I think most people do. So birds is my next learning curve. I'm still learning trees. I'll pass on what I do know. I can find out a lot of trees by the landowner, what's been planted here, and I have got a reasonable knowledge of trees. But it's a learning curve, and it's one that you can get wrong, and I don't want to. So until I've correctly identified the trees 100%, then I won't show them. Let's just move this out of the way. I'm around this side of the tent today. I don't even really know why. I was trying to get more distance from the bird camera, I think, so as not to scare them off. But I want them to get used to my presence anyway, so, you know. But what I did find out, something a little bit off the cuff perhaps, my power bank, my trusty power bank, 7 years old, hell of a charge in it. I think it's still kept a reasonably good charge even after 7 years, with its 4 ports. Fantastic bit of kit. And I was destroyed when I accidentally spilt a load of water inside of a bag which contained this. It was plugged in, charging something, so the power was on, and yeah, it got fried. So I thought, oh, great. I bought a replacement because I thought, well, 7 years isn't bad, is it? So I've got the replacement one here, which not quite as much, but not bad. And I've long thought, what's inside here? And I was bang on, quite frankly. I was wrong on the amount of them that was in there. I thought there would have been 6 in there, but it turns out there's there's 6 in here, 1865 batteries, which that's fantastic. I thought, you know, maybe some of those batteries are okay because it still had an amazing amount of mAh charge it could hold. So I tested the batteries, found that this one up here was actually dodgy and couldn't hold any charge, so I guess that got frazzled somehow on the circuit. I removed that battery, took this battery out, put it back together, allowed it to dry out with some silicon granules, which can take the moisture out of the air. I left it in a little tub with some of those, and that took all the moisture out, and now it works again, would you believe? Admittedly it's only 6 instead of 8, but these batteries are very handy, and it's hard to get good quality ones of these. I've found you can get them readily and very cheaply, but can you get a good quality one of these is the question. And these are good quality 1865s, L1s. So the battery that was in there, just so happens I needed one for my fan. The one that was in there before didn't hold any charge, it was completely knackered. But now this is probably better than it actually ever was. I think it's better than the original battery that was in there. And we've got my 3-speed fan back, which by the way is a very good fan, especially for this kind of setup where you've got some kind of oveny contained system that you can blow into with the chimney as an outlet. These are fantastic. I've had this now for so long, 8 years, I guess 9 is more likely. I had one before that, and that lasted again about the same amount of time. Fantastic little things. Beware of the replicas that are cheap and nasty and look like these but aren't these. This is a proper fan. So that fire's now out. Well, not out, but pretty much. And that's brought it back. I use this in the mornings when I wake up in my hot tent or something, just leave it on there and that will get the embers going pretty sharp, so that you can get your cup of coffee in the morning, so long as you've had enough embers build up. I've found if you get your embers up level to the top here, that's about right. Those embers will keep you going enough to keep you to light up first thing in the morning. And of course you don't want the embers to get much higher than that anyway, because then that will stop the airflow. So it's about right. I have used clay bricks to keep the tent warm in the winter. That was quite effective. I had a clay oven and was putting clay bricks in the clay oven, adding this and getting the clay to change to a colour that was beyond glowing yellow. It was getting whiter, heading towards white, which was very, very hot clay. And that held the heat for a very long time. Not all night. I had a good 10 of them, I believe, 10 clay bricks that I'll just heat up and take in with me. And you could tell the difference, but otherwise, you know, in the morning you're going to wake up, yeah, the heat's gone. There's a limit, but clay is a great absorber of heat. The clay oven would stay hot for ages and ages. Really loved that clay oven and would love to make another clay oven, but Must keep the rain off of it if you make a clay oven, especially the way I made it, with clay off the beach, filled with sand and salt and water and soil and shellfish, fossils even. But yeah, just don't let the rain get on it. If you do attempt to make anything out of clay from the beach, then it seems to be fine, but it doesn't like moisture. So I'm not going to bother with this fire anyway. I've had my cup of coffee. I'm just going to do half an hour's work, finishing off that hazel fence hurdle. I'd like to get that out of the way with, because I need that space to build the willow hut. So, well, potentially